Welcome back to Rollin with Olan. I'm Jeff Olan, your host. And today, my guest is one of the top talents in the world of voiceover work. She's beautiful, bright, fun, funny, talented, a mom, a friend. E.G. Daly, welcome to my show.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here. You know that. And you're much more than just a voiceover actress. You're a singer, a songwriter, a musician, an actress, and so much more. And I want to get into that a little bit today because you really do have quite the career, young lady. I mean, I've known you for a long time, but after I did a little bit of a deep dive, I'm so impressed. And I'm always impressed to have friends on that have such a story. Um, Let's start with you as far as like where were you born and tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Okay, so I was born in West Hollywood. Not in West Hollywood. I was born in Los Angeles, and my parents had moved out here from Europe. They were French, Tunisian, North African Jews who migrated here, had a child in France, a child in Israel, a child in Sioux City, Iowa, and then they moved to like Venice Beach, a little tiny guest house behind a house, like a little one room with three babies, and then they ended up having my brother and I here. So yeah, just started this whole family, and then they started a fencing company. So there was really no like artists, like singers, actors, dancers in our business. But my mom always had like such a thing for it. So I think she just like tapped tapped us all with some kind of little bit of her desire for music or art. Yeah.
Did you at that young age were you ever thinking about it, being in Hollywood and all that?
Um, when I was little, I was super shy, Jeff. I was super shy. And
Mm.
it was actually awkward for me to do a lot of like, hi, I'm Elizabeth Daly or whatever. Those
Yeah.
little, I went on commercial auditions when I was really young, but I just didn't feel like a natural at it. I just thought it was weird. But um, yeah, it was just awkward. It was just
Yeah.
awkward for me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I started to grow into it. I started to like, once I started studying like in little classes or even in school, and I started to like actually appreciate the art and appreciate what I was doing, whether it was singing or writing a song or playing guitar or doing a scene. I started to feel like less self-conscious and able to be a little more present with like, the acting stuff or the whatever it was.
Well, you moved along pretty quickly. I believe you started your career as a singer in the early 80s. I know we're probably jumping a few years, but and then you also signed with A&M Records in 1985. What was that all about?
A&M Records. Let me think. I I started actually doing like TV and stuff earlier than that, Jeff. Like I did like guest stars on like Chips and Fame and some TV shows, and then at the same time I was doing these music things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I want to stay on track. So, what was your initial question? Because I get so sidetracked.
Well, no, I was just talking about the music, but yeah, you did all that other stuff, and you also did Friends, and you did so much like in the early days.
And then I started playing in clubs along the Sunset Strip. So I had different bands that I was in, and then sort of around that time, I was trying to get a record deal, and I was in the bands, and I was also doing like some movies. I did a whole bunch of strange movies during that early period, and then all of a sudden, this, um, as I was doing this one play called Tansy, then labels came, and I was able to get this really great record deal, and at the same time, I was able to get a voiceover manager agent. So it was like everything happened while I was doing this play because I guess I was just like, it was a great opportunity for me to show what I could do. And then from that point, I was doing voiceover and music and acting.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty incredible. Like I said, I was looking up a lot of your stuff from your website, and I mean you're all over social media. In fact, you even have like I guess you were thanking fans from TikTok for over 90 million people watching a video or so. I mean, that's pretty crazy,
It's
EJ.
crazy. Well, yeah, for some reason I did go viral at one point. I had this one video that says like, I'm a voice actor that sort of started this. It started as a little trend and then I embellished it with adding footage of the actual characters you did. And somehow it blew up and This one video got, I don't know, 54 million views, and then another one I did got 38 million views, and then it just started to go crazy. I was like, so it was, yeah, it was like 90 million views in just a short period of time. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is a lot of people. And you know, look, you've done so much. We're talking about, I mean, obviously I'm having you on here to talk. I want to talk voiceover stuff, but I want to also just kind of tell people that you've done so much in your career before that. I mean, when you started singing, you were even, I mean, you were interviewed on American Bandstand by Dick Clark. That was like in 1986. I mean, you know, how did you get out there and start the whole music thing and get them, you know, you talked about how you got the manager. Tell us a little bit more about that. Because again, you know, you said your parents weren't really into it, so this was like all on you, and then whatever management you got. So you had to really kind of get out there and get seen.
You mean as far as the music stuff, or you're talking about?
Yeah, the music, and well, the music, the acting, everything.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I didn't have any family that was in the business. I didn't have any what they called nepotism, where you have like a hookup. So I was just like blindly like trying to be really good at what I did, which was like music and acting. And I was, singing all the time and, doing some kind of class all the time. So it was just always really trying to be really good at what I did so that at least, if nothing else, I was good at what I was doing. That was my goal, was to be like my best, be really good. If I was going to be singing, I wanted to be a really good singer. If I was going to be acting, I wanted to do really good work. So I just applied myself and I just did classes and slowly like picked up pieces of like, oh, I got this rep and I got this rep. And then um, I got this part and then I got this part. And it was just like, I don't know. It was divinely like sort of happening. Um, and I don't really know how it went from like when I was 8 and had a commercial agent and never booked anything. And then like 8 years later started booking everything. And they were to the point where they were like in castings, they'd say, we want an Elizabeth Daily type. All right, now we go by EG, but we want an Elizabeth Daily type. And I was just like, that's me. Why aren't they just calling me? It was like,
Yeah,
it was such a weird thing to hear that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Jeff. I sort of just found a little niche for myself. And I just like when it got slow with acting, then I would do music. And when it got slow with music, then I would do some other thing. And then when the play happened and I got a voice agent, I started applying myself to voice acting. And that my
yeah.
first voice audition I ever got was because I did that another play.
Hmm.
I was actually Tansy when I did the play Tansy, um, and I got this like voice agent, and that was the beginning of my
Hmm.
career. He saw me in that play. I got a record deal, a voice agent, a boyfriend. A whole bunch of things happened in that one play, and then things just started moving different
Yeah,
directions.
yeah. It's incredible how it all comes together. But you know, you did a lot more before you even got to that. Tell the audience, which by the way, first of all, EG is such an incredible artist, and she's done so much. And you know, if you guys Google her, you'll see right away. Or IMDb, hundreds and hundreds of credits. Tell us about playing. Well, first of all, how you got it? Yes, you young lady, how you got the role of Dottie in Pee Wee in the Pee Wee Big Adventure. You played Dottie's love. I mean, his love interest. Tell us about that. That's just incredible.
Yeah, I played Pee Wee's love interest. Um,
I mean, you're number two on the call sheet, I believe.
yeah, yeah, it was really cool. That was just a casting. I just had an agent. I went in on this casting at Warner Brothers. They were looking for someone to be the lead, and I'd been familiar with Pee Wee's Playhouse. I guess they were doing it at the Roxy Theater, which is my old stomping grounds, and I know it was like Pee Wee's Playhouse. And so I knew there was some talk about it, and I just went out on this audition. I knew it was going to be a feature. I didn't know anything about it, and then I got cast in it, and then the next thing you know, I think because my character Dottie was kind of tomboy. Obviously, she works in a bike store, but I played her very unglamorous. Like Dottie's just sort of like, oh, would you go to the bike store? Would you go to the drive-in with me? Like she's just very simple. And so whatever it is, I booked it, and then it wasn't until we were like shooting when I was on the set, and I was seeing like these cool sets, and it was at Warner Brothers, and I was like, wow, this seems like they're putting a lot. And they were also real excited about Tim Burton. They were like,
Yeah, Tim Burton directing it. Yeah.
yeah, they're like, oh, this director, um, Tim Burton is going to blow up. He's really something special. He had done this special short about a dog, and which I saw, it was really cool. And you could tell when you were working with Tim that he had some real masterpiece, mastermind, genius stuff happening.
Yeah.
And then, next thing you know, that movie just like, and Paul, you knew Pee Wee was really magnificent and
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like brilliant in his own like artistic way. So it was like I kind of was felt like I was working with these really amazing people. And then the next, the movie's like iconic, and 30, 40 years later is still really popular. So crazy.
It really is, and a lot of roles and movies that you did back in the day are also very iconic. Something else you did, which I never knew you did this, um, for Two and a Half Men. You were like the voice of like the theme song, and maybe you could do that. So the can you do that so the audience knows?
Men. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
There
Yeah,
you go. I had no clue you did that.
I know. You probably have no clue a lot of things that I've done.
But
That's what's
well,
fun.
I have, yeah, maybe not, but how did that come about?
That was I'd actually met Chuck Lorre, who produced the show Two and a Half Men, and he really liked my music. Like I would do a little acoustic set at some little bar, and I would just call his production office and say, "Oh, just so you know, let Chuck know I'm going to be playing some bar in Hollywood, just like acoustic." And then I'd go to my show, and he would be sitting like right there in front of me in this little pub or bar. So he really had appreciation for my music, and then, like, sometime after that, I got a call from his production office saying, Chuck wants you to audition for this singing thing for the theme song for the show, Two and a Half Men. And you have to kind of sound like the boy from the show because he's not a real singer. So I was like, okay. They're like, and he can't just give it to you because they're auditioning boys from Broadway and kids from different musical shows. They were really looking for like a kid that could sing. It was a boy that could sound like Jake, like the kid on the show, and he sort of talks like this, right? So
Yeah.
I sort of did manly men, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo, and and the next thing you know, they called me and they said, okay, yeah, come in and audition. I said, okay, just send me a reference of the boy's voice. So I was like, okay, that's my specialty, doing boy voices. And then I said, and just the song reference, and it was only a short bit of a song, and I went in and I did it, and then I booked it, and then it was the theme song. It was pretty miraculous. Yeah.
Incredible. Incredible. I mean, that's something else. That's something else. Do you still get residuals for that?
The gift that keeps on giving. That show's amazing. Yeah,
I'll bet.
that show.
I'll bet.
It's funny because
I mean, that's
I
so,
usually write songs too, but I didn't write that one. And
yeah,
boy, it's been a really beautiful ride with that show.
yeah. I would imagine. I mean, that's really cool. And you've done so much. I mean, I know you worked in, Valley Girl, the movie with Nicolas Cage, and that was a really low budget film, right? And that did really well. I mean, it's like 40 years later now.
Yeah, one of the best soundtracks of all time. The Plimsolls. I mean, just the greatest soundtrack. Yeah, that was Martha Coolidge, who's a brilliant director, and who knew that movie was going to be iconic and blow up 40 years later. And we still get asked to do a lot of screenings and come to do Q&As for screenings because people just love that movie. It's so well done. That was
Yeah.
just again another audition. They were trying to match people up, like they were trying to find the Valley Girl, the main one, and they were
Yeah.
trying to find the trampy one, which was me, and they were trying to find, the different ones, and then they sort of matched us all together, and then it was a very low budget indie film. Oh, dogs are barking.
Yeah. Uh-oh. There you go. There you go. Animals. We love animals.
We love animals. So yeah, so then the next thing you know, we're like shooting that movie, and again, it was so low budget that we were all wearing our own clothes for scenes, and
Wow.
but that movie just was so well done and beautiful that nothing mattered. It just yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what some independent movies are able to do, and like you mentioned Martha Coolidge. You've also worked with, we mentioned Tim Burton as well, George Miller, Rob Zombie. I mean, you've worked with a lot of really iconic directors.
Yeah, I feel really lucky. Really
You
lucky.
know, Really, really good. And also, and I'm just, I'm leading up to the voiceover stuff, but I want the audience to know, a few of you made I mean, you also write songs. You had a few songs like that top the charts. Um, you had a song say it, I believe, which was number one.
Yeah, it was number one all over the dance charts all over the world. And then it followed it up with a couple other dance hits. I don't know that that happened. I was kind of making more of a acousticy pop, almost a little country vibe record. But somehow I ended up with the manager and went to a party. And at the party, I met Jelly Bean Benitez, who produced for Madonna, like
Mm-hmm.
to get into the groove record, that real popular first big thing she had. And then we kind of connected at the party, and we were like, he's like, let's do some songs for your record, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we dated actually too at that point too. I think we met, we decided to work together, and then we dated, and then we worked together, and then it's very funny. He's a real talented guy. He's a DJ. He's like super talented, and so we ended up doing writing Say It, and it was pretty fun. We had a really good time, and that song just blew up, went to number one, and then had some other ones that blew up, and a lot in Europe. I had a lot of success in Europe. I did a lot of like singing interviews, talk shows, pop shows in Europe. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, you have done a lot, and it's funny because like I said, we've been friends for a long time. And, those of us who are friends in the industry, we're not always, I mean, we support each other, but we're not always looking at everything that we've done. And a lot, like you said, I don't know half about you. You don't know about me. We just know what we know. And to watch some of your earlier videos and you singing on stage and some of the movies you're performed in, I mean, it was a joy for me. I mean, I literally was like, I was glued to the TV and watching it and doing my little homework on some of the stuff I don't know about you.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, you've done a
You
ton
know,
of stuff, a lot of things I probably still don't know too, but I know you've been casting a long time, and it's like you're a master at it. It's good.
yeah. Thank you. Look, we all do what we do, and like I said, yeah, we don't even know. And so over the years, um, in music, you released 4 studio albums, I believe. Are you planning on doing more?
I mean, I'd love to. I haven't been in that mode, but it would be really beautiful to have another project released, some kind of music. I always release like one-off songs here and there. I mean, I released a cover of "When the Party's Over," the Billie Eilish song, and I did a video with it. It's really cool. It was an art project during COVID. I was like, I got to do something artistic, so I did this track, I covered the song, and then I directed a video because we couldn't be around anyone during COVID. So I had this one guy with me, and we just filmed it at my house, and it's really cool. It's called "When the Party's Over," and it's this very weird artsy video. But yeah, I'm always like. Then I did a "We Got the Beat" for a Go Go's tribute album that was more recent, and I had sung "We Got the Beat" on that Go Go's tribute album, and that was out. So I'm always trying to release one-off songs here and there, and yeah, my daughter is releasing a bunch of beautiful music now too. 100
Oh,
years.
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful. Well, your daughters have grown up seeing mom do it, and why shouldn't they? But I mean, it's just amazing how much you have done and what you're doing. And, you have really hit like everything in the industry and you constantly are working. I mean, I constantly see you doing things, especially on social media. You put a lot of stuff out there. And, you know, I guess, let's kind of turn the corner because I don't have you all day. There's so much that I could get into with you and we could talk for hours. But, you know, let's talk about your outstanding voiceover career. How did you start out? How'd you start out? Now you did mention that thing where you were in a play and a guy came up to you and said you should do maybe voiceover work. Is that how it all started?
yeah. It was pretty much I did the play, and he was like, "Oh, you're really good with your voice," because in that play I had to do different. Um, I had to do different age ranges in the play. Um, uh, yeah, I had to do different age ranges, and from a baby to a 5 year old. And this guy was a voice agent, and he was like, "Wow, you're really good with your voices. Like you're really profound with how you can do kids' voices." Because I'm a singer, I'm super auditory, and I hear things like everything is like a song to me. Like I hear people's tones of their voices, and you know, um, so I just like, yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, was I saying he just came to the show, and then did I tell you that he just came to the show and he was like, "You should really do." I didn't really think anything about voiceover. I never was like, I never went into the world to go like, I'm going to be a voice actor. I just had this auditory ability to manipulate my voice, and the universe knew and put the right elements together. Because the next thing you know, I did a play. The guy heard me do these voices, and the next thing you know, I go my first audition. He goes, "Go try this audition," and I was like, "I'll get you on the next one." And he's like, "No, you should do this one." And I was like, I'm busy. And he said, well, just go in really quick. So I did. And it was my first voice audition. It was Rugrats. It was Tommy Pickles on Rugrats. So
That's incredible.
yeah, it's so crazy. And then I ended up doing like 8 series a year. Like I was doing, no, 8 series a week. I was running from a Woody Woodpecker's niece and nephew to the Rugrats to a, Jungle Cubs to I was doing all these different shows, and I was having babies at that time. So it was like life was just happening, and I was just kind of going with the flow. And I could have never predicted that I was gonna like be doing voices. That wasn't something in the I thought singing for sure, and pop star stuff and movies, but I never would have thought voiceover.
It worked out pretty well, didn't it?
Really well, yeah. It's great.
Yeah. Could we, can you bring well, first of all, you talk about Rugrats being the first audition. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And now I know you've been doing this for years and years. Can you bring, I know Tommy Pickles is there with you. Can you bring Tommy on camera?
Oh, Tommy, sure. You want to talk to Tommy?
Yeah. I could actually, maybe I could, ask Tommy a few questions. Tommy, how do you like having EG's voice?
It's pretty cool. She's cool, and she takes care of us, and I really like her. And she's really, really fun and funny.
Perfect, perfect. I love that. It's just makes it now. You talked about voices earlier. You know, going from a young voice maybe to a teenage voice or to maybe an older voice. How do you do that? Like, is it easy for you to do something like that?
To do a boy voice, like you're saying.
Well, to start younger and then have the character grow, being older in any ways.
No, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like, you hear a little kid who sounds like, oh, that's just great. And you hear a little girl and she talks like this. And then they say, well, we want her a little bit older. So she'll go from like, oh, that's just great. And then all of a sudden she'll start talking a little bit more sophisticated. And then she'll talk a little bit more sophisticated. And then suddenly she's talking like a 18-year-old. And then suddenly she's talking like a grown woman. It's just it's like dialing a radio. It's like you're just tuning it towards the age range tone. And it's kind of funny because um, I'm keeping an eye out because my dog is outside. I want to make sure she's okay. Uh, are you gonna edit this? Like if I have to run and grab her, she's outside.
That's okay. No, no, no. It's all good. It's all good. You need to grab her. Okay. I'll just fake that like I'm talking to Tommy Pickles right now, everybody. So don't worry, it's all good. Tommy Pickles is playing a ghost right now. That's what's happening. But we're gonna be good. Don't worry. She's checking on her dog, and we should all check on our animals. Make sure your animals are doing great, especially in the summertime. Do I sound like an advertisement? I might be. Okay, she's back. And Tommy Pickles is
I
with her.
saw her outside. My
Hey,
sister outside. So
hey,
anyway, so
Tommy, how's your dog?
I guess that's fine. She really likes the sun. So yeah, she's outside in the sun.
Okay, good. I'm glad you checked on her.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
so let me ask you this. Let me ask you. So, when you're like looking at a character, like tell us about the audition process when you are actually auditioning. I don't even know. Do you still audition nowadays, or people know you already? I mean, does it work like that?
for voiceover, for on camera.
Yeah, for voiceover.
I mean, some things they just cast me. Where like I just did a 3 arc, really cool thing in Teen Titans Go, and the part was like a little pop star, edgy, and so it was like they just gave me the role, and it was a really fun. The people just know what I do, so sometimes they'll just cast me, but I still have to audition for things, and which is fine. It's kind of fun because then you get to keep playing with different voices and stuff. I of course I like it when people just hire me because they know if they hire me, I'm going to give them whatever they want. I'll give them at whatever age, whatever it is they want. That's my specialty, you know. Yeah, some people get confused when people say that, but in the Little Rascals live action feature,
Hmm.
there were little children that they cast for that movie. So what happened was when the film was completed and they needed to do ADR, the little kid, the kids usually their voices change, or you know what I'm saying. Usually, what
Oh
happens
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in this case with the Little Rascals, Froggy's voice was sweet because he's only a little kid, so their vocal cords are only so much developed. It's like a little kid who talks like this. Hi, mom. How's it going, mom? You know, it's this very little voice. So what happens is they want that kid to have that froggy sounding voice, and you can't really make a little kid's voice have that kind of depth. So then they
yeah.
call someone like me and say, we wanted you to redo his voice. So I had to loop in ADR his voice
Mm.
and then do voice like this. What's the high time, Petey? And then I take it to this whole other level that that kid couldn't really get to with his voice because he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I do. No, that's incredible. You're when you're doing the voiceover work, are you just like are you visualizing the character and then just kind of figuring out what that voice would sound like for that character, or are they guiding you along?
Um, well, for any of my characters that I do, like it
Yeah,
just depends.
yeah, any of the
Sometimes I'll tackle a character a certain way, and then they might say, usually my first instincts are pretty good, but they might say, we actually want this character to be a little bit smarter sounding or a little chubbier, or like they have
hmm
a very specific visual. They'll be like, we just want him to sound a little bit more punky. You know what I mean? So if I play him like sort of like this, and they say we want him to be a little punky like the Jaguars, then they say we want him to be even punkier and tougher. Then I sort of toughen him up like this, right? If you close your eyes, then you see a little pup, kind of chubby, chunky, tough little kid. So it just depends. Sometimes they steer me. They take my voice and they kind of steer it where they want. And my job is just easy because it's really easy for me to just switch it any second to any. And that's what I was going to say to you, Deb. It's like I've done a lot of movies in my acting career, and if you notice, like throughout my career, like even movies I did in the '80s, a lot of the characters I did were sort of like characters. Like I'm a character
Yeah,
actress. Like Dottie sort of had a way that she talked. She's like, okay, Pee Wee, you know, she's just got this like character. And Valley Girl was like, your mom's so cool, Susie. You know, she's also like has a character and a voice, a speech way that she talks. And I just find like on camera, that's what's so fun about on camera is I'm really I really enjoy changing my voice up. I like changing everything up. Like in some of the Rob Zombie movies that I do that I've done, like I did Devil's Rejects. I played a character named Candy. When I
yes,
31, I played a character named Sexhead. And those characters, it's like I get to dress up like a character, like somebody you'd see at a Comic Con, like a cartoon. I almost get to dress up like
yeah.
a cartoon, which I love being a human cartoon. And then I get to create a voice for that character. So like in Devil's Reject, she was like, all them farmers want, she's just really tough and cocky. She's like, you see something you like, just she's kind of like tough and funny. And then in Sex Ed, which is in 31, my favorite, it was one of my favorite fun characters because she looks like a little strange cartoon character that's like a weird demented doll, and she sort of says like, "See you later, Popeye." She's sort of like a cartoon, She's like, uh, um, she's like, Would you like a lick of my lolly?" She says things like that. Everything is like a cartoon almost, which, like I said, is putting it all together because then I get to use my voice. I get to create a character that's not me because I really like being different than myself, and I get to bring to life another part of my voice. It's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, all your voices, and you do so many of, you're also Babe in Pig in the City, which for any of the people who saw that, and I saw that, and Mumble and Happy Feet. I mean, you've done so much over the years.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And
It's pretty incredible. I mean, it's to be a voiceover artist, you've really got to work on, I guess, different sounds, different voices, different tones, right? I mean, what is it that you do like daily? Do you do anything daily, like sing? Like I know you're a singer, so singers warm up, actors try to do something. Do you do anything voiceover wise? And what's your prep? I guess what's your prep for an audition or for a voice that you'd be doing?
I mean, the only prep is looking at the material, reading the description. If they say she's a really OCD mom, the only prep would be like, thinking out like who are people that are kind of OCD, sort of one of those little OCD ladies that's sort of like, everything has to be in order and we're running late, like I think like I just kind of like get in touch with I really just think about people and humans and how they are. And so there isn't really like a vocal prep that I need to do for that. Um, even video games, when you do video games, there's a lot of screaming. So I'm kind of used to screaming because my voice as a singer is kind of edgy. Um, as a singer, I'll do warm ups before I sing and make sure, I just kind of get my voice warmed up so that I can do all the things I want to do. But with cartoon, it's not really like I have to like, you know, do warm ups to do a voice because the voice is just like a person. It's like, I don't do warm ups whenever I see different people. People don't have to do a warm up to be who they are. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, no, I do.
you're just who you are and you talk like you do. And Buttercup talks like this and that's how she talks and she just sort of like that. And Tommy talks like this and they just pop out because that's who they are. I don't have to like warm up to who they are, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah. And thanks for mentioning Buttercup from the Power. What
Powerpuff
is?
Girls. The Powerpuff
That's right.
Girls.
Now I didn't really watch it, but I know it's really It was really popular. Is it? Yeah. And you play Buttercup. You've been doing that for a long time, right? For that one, for that show.
I did Powerpuff Girls for a lot of years, and Rugrats we did for many years, 14 years, and then they took a long break, and then we just kind of wrapped the beginning of this year, first few months of this year, we wrapped with last minute ADR for season 3 of the Rugrats reboot, and I think they're done now, but it was really beautiful to see where they had taken that show, but um, yeah, I've been doing it
That,
a long time. And Powerpuff Girls, I get called
that's
to
a
do
nice
like
run.
yeah, I get called to do like certain video game type things where they want to bring Powerpuff Girls in or so it's still alive and people still want to hear them.
Yeah. Well, didn't you do a video game for? I think was it Scarface
Um no,
and Grand Theft Auto for sure.
you're thinking Grand Theft Auto. And
Right.
Grand Theft Auto um yeah, it was super popular. I actually had these songs that were one called Shake It Up and one called I'm Hot Tonight. They're both on my Spotify, out there on digital, but Shake It Up and I'm Hot Tonight. And those two songs were actually originally on the Scarface soundtrack because I had worked with like Giorgio Moroder, who's this famous disco producer who produced like Donna Summer back in the day. And I was doing demos from when I was like 15, 16 years old. So I did these two songs that ended up getting in the Scarface soundtrack. And then years later, Grand Theft Auto put them both in their video game. So they kind of blew up again. And they're streaming really. I looked at it recently, it was like, oh, over 4 million streams on one of them. And it's kind of crazy what happens with um, music. It could pop open again. Like I've been noticing, like I post TikToks and I'll post about it. And then all of a sudden the streams start coming in again. Because people are like, oh my God, I love that song. It's you. You're Tommy Pickles and you sing that song on Grand Theft Auto. It's kind of fun for people to put all the pieces together. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, absolutely. And it must be also nice as a voiceover artist. You don't need to really worry about the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe. You just go into the studio and do your thing. Or you do it maybe in a studio at home, right?
I always like to have the makeup going. No, I'm just kidding. I do like to take care of myself, but yeah, um, you
Well,
don't.
you look great. You look great.
I'm in my casual mode for you today. I'm at home. Um, no, you don't really. I mean, we do Zoom meetings when you're recording a session from home. You're still on a Zoom with producer directors, so you want to like, be presentable for your sessions.
Hmm.
But for the most part, yeah, when I'm home doing VO reads, or I just go in my booth and I just pop the voice out and I record and I send it off. It's like that. Yeah.
That's great. What's your favorite voice to do from the all the characters that you have done up till now?
Um, all the characters.
Well, is there one that you just say, God, I really loved doing that character. I love it whenever I could, I mean, are there any that come to your mind?
I mean, I gotta say, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but Tommy Pickles is so sweet. He's such a great character and he's funny. So that's been like really fun. I've done some random other characters. Like I did this character called Hanoka in Fire Emblem, and she's also kind of feisty like Buttercup, but she's like, she just is very feisty, and she's like, she's kind of a warrior type character. So I like doing her, and um, there's so many characters. I did one character in a random project. I don't even know the name of the project anymore. It was so long ago, but her name was Germ Girl, and I really liked her because she was this very sexy. She was this very sexy germ girl who were very pretty. And then the character would kiss her, and then she'd infect him with a cold. And it was just a funny character. So it just depends. It's I like the more vast, the more fun it is for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, which again is why I like doing on camera when I get to really change myself up. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's really fun to like.
Yeah, and also, oh yeah, yeah. And, and isn't there like there's female voiceover artists that do male roles or male cartoons per se, and vice versa too, right? Does that happen a lot? And why does that happen?
You said there's female voiceovers who do.
Yeah, I mean there are several like female animated character voices that are voiced by males, and then vice versa. I read that somewhere.
It's mostly. I have to say it's mostly females who will do the males. Um,
Oh, okay.
when you're actually, I should change that. It's definitely mostly females that will do like boys, and for that
Hmm.
reason, it's because, like I said, little boys change their voices, go through puberty, so they'll hire a woman so they can keep it consistent. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so you'll see more of that, females doing male voices, unless you have like a really quirky character and they want like a deep male voice for a female. But mostly it's more females doing males, I think.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So, you talk about like some of the roles that you had. I read somewhere, and I'm trying to figure out if it was for Rugrats or if it was for Powderpuff Girls. Didn't you audition for one of those and then you didn't hear for like 7 years later or something like that?
Yeah, that was the Powerpuff Girls. We auditioned, and then we didn't hear anything about it. And then like years later, they're like, "Remember that show you auditioned over at Hanna Barbera Studios?" And you're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, they're gonna pick it up now. It's Cartoon Network." And you're like, "Oh wow." You just never know. So that's why I try to like do the job and then just let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just like, or do the audition and just let it go. And then you're pleasantly surprised. Just like Rugrats. Like Rugrats wrapped, you know, they wrapped it, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, 14 years ago. And then you get a call saying they're going to reboot the Rugrats. And you're like,
incredible.
wow, that's amazing. Well, it's a no brainer because if it's a show that's already been established and people love it, then they just got to put it out. It's already got the fan base, and they'll have the new generation of fan base plus the old generation. It's a no brainer to do some show like that because it's easy. It's a for sure thing. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, you've been entertaining so many people for so many years. Um, do you ever think to yourself like how many kids over the years you've like affected because kids watch these cartoons, they hear the voices, they walk away, they're so happy. I mean, I certainly did when I was younger. I mean, I could just imagine how many like millions of kids, little kids you've affected. You ever think about that?
I do, I do, and I see it firsthand when I do the Comic Cons and you see people come to your table that are like, "You are the voice of my childhood." I mean, that's like the infamous voice that. Oh,
Hey, that's a bonus. No, your your daughter's out tanning, huh? Okay, okay, there you go. You've got beautiful daughters, by the way. You know that. I mean, you've raised them right. They're very good girls. You've raised them right.
Thank you. I think they're amazing. One is Hunter Daly. Like I said, she's got beautiful music out right now. She's releasing a new song today, actually. And Tyson, my daughter Tyson, she goes by I am not Mike Tyson, but she has a body balm line that's so beautiful and it sells all over the world. And she does all kinds of social media influencer on face and skin and how to take care of yourself. They're both really great at what.
Beautiful, beautiful. Talented like mom, beautiful like mom. It's a great thing, you know. Um, Now you tell us about a little more about. Let's go back into the voiceover work a little bit. I saw something that you use a pen to like for your teeth or whatever. I mean, do you use your finger, pens, other props for voices? I mean, is that something that is very well known in your industry?
Yeah, I think so. Some of the real pros, like Frank Welker, you'll see him do things like, and he's doing like a weird monster that has slimy quality. It's very funny. It's a fun thing to watch the pros go to work because they do all kinds of things. When when you're doing a scene or a kid and he's eating a big cookie, then you would sure do like this, and you sure talk like this, or just a little bit cookie. It's good. There's so many tricks. So the crazy tricks of the trade. If you want to get a certain sound, you could pull your mouth apart like this, and then you get sort of a tight-lipped character. It sounds like this. Or if you want to do braces, then you would put your finger in your mouth like this. And then you have a girl who sort of talks like this, like she's got braces in her teeth. Mom, we're going to the orthodontist today. That's great. There's so many little, it's so silly, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if people look at your IMDb page, you have done so much, so many different roles, different characters that you played. I mean, it's incredible. What's the favorite part about the job for you, a voiceover artist?
I think that you get to be so many different characters that you wouldn't get to be in real life because your body,
Yeah,
your face limits you, your age limits you. I'm only going to get cast as certain people in a movie unless they totally change my face with, you know, makeup and prosthetics. But um, that's what's really fun about it is you could be a straw, you could be a little straw who talks like oh, I'm a little straw and I'm going to go put myself in that yummy matcha right there. You could be an inanimate object, you could be a flower, you could be anything with your voice, which is so cool.
that, that is so good. You know, I actually saw something else that you did, and I want to bring this up because I think it was so cool. You had talked about a bridge. You had said that you could actually make the voice if you were a bridge, a talking bridge. Do you know what I'm talking about? You like like if the bridge was rickety or if the bridge was older or whatever, you could talk and you could make that bridge sound the way it's looking.
Have a voice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have an old bridge and you want it to be a character, oh, you would just be a bridge. Don't be afraid, honey. You can cross me now, but don't make me angry or I'll have to push you off. It just depends on, yeah, you can be, you can give a voice to anything and, you know what I mean? Anything. And
Yeah.
so a bottle, um, yeah, you can, yeah, I guess you can, anything can have a voice, like, especially in a cartoon. Like, there are cartoons where, like, animals have voices and, flowers.
Would you do me a favor and hold up the bottle and give it a voice?
Oh, I'm a water bottle, and I feel like there's nothing better than a fresh cup of water from a glass bottle. It's me. I will just do that one.
I love it. I love it. It's incredible. It's something else. What uh what what do you like to do in your free time when you're not working?
Um, when I'm not working, I like to go do like I like to work out and do like exercise. I like to visit family and friends. I mean, I really like keep it simple. Um,
And you're a big animal activist too.
yeah, I've done a lot of stuff with in the realm of animal activism. Um, there are so many animals that need help. It's almost overwhelming, but I love animals. So yeah, I work with Last Chance for Animals. I'm on their board, and they do like stuff globally for animals across globally. Every kind of animal. They're in litigation with people that are abusing, all kinds of animals, and they have investigations going on. And I do all the voiceovers now for all their investigative videos that are going to press and that are being
That's great.
posted. So I feel really proud of that because it's my way to give back to, like, I give voice to these videos that are educating people about what is actually happening to these animals in these places. So yeah, so I do a lot of that. And what else? I spend a lot of time with my daughters. It's pretty simple, and I'm still like, I still really enjoy doing certain work. I don't like grinding for work. Like, I really like it when my friends call me and they're like, "I've got this movie. Do you want to do this fun part?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like not having to grind. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, really,
Yeah.
you do like 4 callbacks for something? Like, don't you guys see enough footage of me over the years? Like, just hire me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank God you don't have to really grind anymore. You don't have to do that anymore. Um, do you still do seminars for voiceover people? I know you did that for a while.
Um, I filmed a voiceover seminar that's on Amazon that people can download. It's really inexpensive. I did it. It's sort of basically E.G. Daly's up close personal voiceover seminar, and it's got tips, tools, and how to use a voiceover. And it just gives all the really pertinent kind of basic information. And I have like I have a top agent on there, and some top voiceovers. I have this guy Bill who did Goofy, and he's done some classic characters, and he's I just had some good guests, and so that's a good bit of information. So I do that, and that I don't do those seminars. Sometimes I'll speak at things or do a panel, but I did release the seminar online as a way for people to get information. Made it accessible.
Hmm.
It's not costly.
Hmm. No, that's great. And you do all those. Do you do those Comic Cons?
I do some. Yeah, I just did one in Denver a couple weeks ago, and I'm supposed to do one in Anaheim coming up. Um, I don't know when this airs, but I do those. I don't do all the time because it's like 3 days in the convention hall, and something about a cold convention hall is just grating on my head. So I
Yeah.
like it because you get to connect with fans and take pictures with them and meet and greet people that you would normally not get to meet. So I really enjoy that. But I don't do a ton of them because it's also like you have to fly to like a strange town and drive 2 hours, and then you're in some strange town. Those are, it's a little more tedious.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. You've been in the industry for so long. Not only obviously as a voiceover artist, one of the best out there, as an actress, as a singer, whatever. I have an audience that's pretty full. It's people across the spectrum. What kind of advice can you give to people out there who are trying to make it nowadays? People who want to get into the voiceover business. Let's start with that, and then what other advice maybe could you lend to people, give to people that might help them, get to the next level?
I would say definitely if you have a class in your neighborhood, so you can start practicing with reading. When you're in a class, they're going to teach you hopefully things like mic tech, where you know how far you want to be from your mic, and you're gonna go through scripts. You're gonna try to identify what you think the character would sound like. And I would say like acting class is really good for voiceover because you really want to be able to be a good actor. You want to be able to be a character fully committed to that character, but you're not getting to use your body. So if someone has to close their eyes and hear your voice, they have to believe you're that character. So you have to really be able to connect to the soul of that character, even if it is an inanimate object. So I would say like really work on your acting chops. And I would say, and being able to read scripts, like read your copy and deliver your lines. You're not having to memorize your lines, which is great. You just have to like read them, and make them sound genuine, And there's just so many, like I said, there's a lot of um, practical technique, like mic tech, and where to hold the mic, and how to not feedback, and in between lines, you don't want to be shuffling papers because it gets on your lines. You want to be really quiet. There's a lot of practical, and there's a lot of just like, um, you know, just artistic things that you want to learn. So I would say like you could start learning right now by turning the radio on in your car and listening to radio commercials. You could hear like radio commercials like Mountain Dew or the new Lexus car, and whatever it is. You can start learning patterns of like how people talk when they're doing promotion for a car commercial, or a, Adidas commercial, or whatever it is. You could start to learn by hearing other people, and you could also learn by watching tons of cartoons and see like you'll start to identify different people. And you'll start to go, oh my god, that's that actor and that's that actor. You'll start to hear their voices. So it's also a great way to study character, how they're developing. You hear their characters. So there's so many ways to learn, but I would say get into class if you can. My voiceover seminar is up online. It's easy. Um, um, there's a lot of people putting out classes and stuff, so you could do that. My friend does voicelings, and they're just great branching out. She's one of my good friends, Tara Strong. So I would say like there's a lot of ways to learn, and it's not just about having a good voice. You want to know how to work your voice. It's like you can have a beautiful car, but if you don't ever drive it, then the battery's dead. So you want to learn how to drive it.
Right. Right. And maybe, they should, like you said, they should, check out what you have online, check out from Tara Strong, check out anything that they can to help them get to the next level. Also, what about making a tape or some sort of, I mean, they're going to need help on that.
What about making a tape?
Like a tape, like a voiceover tape.
Yeah, that's, sorry. The dogs are barking because there's,
okay. They have a lot to say too.
Hi, hello.
I think that was Tommy Pickles' dog's voice.
The dogs. Hold on a sec. Hello. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna buzz
This
you.
is live.
Okay.
It's all good.
That's what happens when you
It's all good.
Dogs bark, doorbell. So what was the question?
Oh, well, the question was, should people, make a like a demo tape of their voice?
So what happens is there's a lot of really good voiceover demos. I have some on the seminar. I do have a list of a few of the guys that do really great. Sorry, hold on one sec. I just want to.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
No one's delivering something.
We're good.
Yeah,
we're good. Okay, so they should just go to your seminar. Basically,
seminar
they should go to your seminar.
A list of some of the voiceover directors for demo reels. There's like there's a little hand.
Don't we all love dogs?
Yeah, and there's a lot of really good. Yeah, you just Google up like voiceover demos, and you want to have a really great demo that shows the different qualities of your voice, different ranges, different characters. The wider, vast, you want to have different kind of like separation between characters, so someone could hear that you could do a bunch of different characters. Or you might just have that incredible announcer voice or promo, those big movie theater voices, right? Those guys with the deep voice, Will she, tonight on Fox, those voices. You just want to know your specialty and learn how to work with what you're good at.
Yeah. Well, look, I just have a couple more things I want to throw at you. First of all, are you or you personally or not? Well, I should say, is your industry at all concerned about AI, and how do you think that might affect voiceover work?
Well, I think it does because it can, and that's what they've been working on with SAG, and it's scary. I mean, they'll never really be able to capture your total essence as a character, but it is pretty remarkable what AI does. So I'm curious to see how it's going to really affect, and I think it is like blowing up. Like there is more and more stuff in AI that's starting to happen. So hopefully it won't take our jobs. We don't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So hopefully it doesn't affect, it'll maybe enhance some things, and some things you want to just make sure it doesn't like eliminate humans. That's what we do.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope. E.G., what's next for you? What can we watch for or listen for or whatever? What's next?
Like I said, I've got some episodes on Teen Titans, which will be really fun. I don't. They'll probably come out in a year. Um, there's always music up on Spotify and the digital things. I have an EG Daily music page. It's got some of the old '80s music. It's got some current stuff. It's really fun. I have YouTube stuff, shorts, and tons of my social media. That's all fun. Um, I'm working. I've got a couple movie things that people are asking me about right now. I'm just trying to decide what I want to do. Um, you know, and just like trying to just have more fun in life. Just try to have more fun. So
Yeah, you've been working quite a bit, so it's not like you have to get out there and work every day. That's for sure. Um, yeah,
I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to grind anymore like that. But I do enjoy doing artistic things. It's really fun. Whatever's fun, I like to do.
yeah, yeah. And talking about music real quick, I wanted to bring something up, and the audience could check it out. It's on the show Friends, where you played Phoebe. Phoebe's like good friend, and you were playing a guitar and singing with her on the couch, and that was quite the gig, huh?
Yeah, that was a big, big, big show. And I always tell everybody the story, but I had just had a baby, and they were like, "Can you go in an audition for Friends tonight?" And I was like, "Tonight?" Like, yeah, they're trying to replace someone. They'd already done a read through, first day, second day. They need someone to come in right away. And I was like, "Well, I just had a baby." And they were like, "Can you go in tonight?" And I was like, "Only if I bring the baby, because I'm not going to find a babysitter at 8 o'clock at night or whatever." So I went to the studio. They said, "Okay, bring the baby in a bassinet and a guitar and a guitar case," and I had to sing and play guitar, and then the baby was right on the floor in the bassinet, in the baby car seat, and then I read, and then the next thing you're like, "Okay, you booked it," so I had to show up the next day on the set, and um, it was all very fast. I had to learn blocking, learn the songs, learn the dialogue. It was a lot, so I was really in like I got a lot to do in one day because I missed 2 days of the prepping, but it was great, and it was classic to get to be on that episode about Smelly Cat. It was great.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've got in my head like I've got 1,000 more questions, but we don't have the time. I really appreciate you being on this. Can you give us just something else, some other voice, whether it's Tommy Pickles or whatever, and just tell us what the rest of your day is going to be like today.
You want it as Tommy? Is that who you want it to be?
I just want a voice. We want a voice. We want to hear E.G. Daily give another voice.
I'm gonna finish up this matcha latte with almond milk, and then I'm gonna go outside in the sun a little bit, get some vitamin D. And Tommy would say, "I'm gonna go play with the dogs a little, and then I'm gonna go clean my room a little bit more, and then I'm gonna maybe go to the gym and have a little exercise."
Nice, nice. I don't know about you guys, but it makes me feel so good when I hear your voice like that. When I hear any kind of cartoon voice, and to know, that one of my friends is one of the very best in the world doing it. I mean, it's just incredible. It's so fun to have you on. And hopefully again, maybe in the future we could talk about other things because I know there's going to be a lot going on for you in the future. EG, thank you so much. And people, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
What's your next movie you're casting?
You know, that's up for grabs. Everybody wants me. Now, truth of the matter is, Hollywood's a different beast right now. So, until you really sign on the dotted line, you don't really say a whole lot. But I will tell you this much: things will pick up, and we just have to stay with it every single day. All of us that are in the industry just keep staying with it, do the best we can, work on your trait, work on your, everything. Work on it for at least 2 hours a day. That's what I say. Now, we know you're all over the internet as far as, social media. So people can find you. And you also have is it egdaily.com, correct?
I mean, mostly the best place to find me is like TikTok, Really Daily, or Instagram, Really Daily. Facebook, I'm on there too, but I pay more attention now to TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, and I have a website, but I don't really. It's up, and there's just fun stuff on there to look at, eachdaily.com. But yeah, I mean, or just Google. Google has so much information. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Like old interviews, like I was on Saturday Night Live, and back in the day, and
That's right.
all those interviews are up, which is so fun. You could
Howard Stern, I
Yep,
believe,
I love
maybe.
Howard Stern. There's a lot of fun trivia. So, I mean, Google is great. Just Google and find it all. I'm still trying to find my what was that dating show? Dating game. I was on a dating game when I was like 16 or something.
It's what?
When I was like 16 or 17, I was on the dating game. I'm trying to
Oh
find it.
wow.
Yeah, but
Oh, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That's crazy. I did Love Connection.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, that's great. But look, look, I'm not going to show everything because I have a lot of notes here. But this is just some of the paperwork on EG's career because I do my homework no matter if I know people or not. Like I said at the beginning, we don't know everything about anybody. That takes a long time. It takes more than an hour. But I'm so grateful that you had this hour to sit with me, and I thank you so much, EG. And I thank my audience again. Thank you so much, everyone, for rolling with Olan, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.